This is Kiki, and
Hello.
she has agreed to be our guest speaker tonight. And I'm a little impartial because I am a Nebraska girl, go Big Red.
Yes.
And Kiki played for the University of Nebraska and was a stud in the outfield, rock star in the box, loved watching you play. And then you got drafted
Yeah.
to play pro ball for the Scrapyard Dogs, and you're
You
currently
said they
doing
were from
that.
Texas. Maddie, she's from Texas. There's two people from Texas. That's so cool.
Yeah, and now you are also a coach. So
Yep.
literally every facet of the game you've been involved in. So you have an awesome perspective. We've got some questions. We want to make it interactive, but this is Kiki.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, like she said, I played at Nebraska. Loved my time there. Loved my coaches. I absolutely adored Nebraska. Anytime I can go back, I love going back to football games. It's a lot of fun. But I'm coaching right now at South Dakota State. I'm still playing with Scrapyard. This summer, I don't really know what we're doing just yet because it's an Olympic season, and with this whole coronavirus thing going on right now, we're kind of just trying to figure out what route to take, what way to go. But I played all 4 years at Nebraska, and then I got drafted my senior year to play for Scrapyard, and I've been with them ever since. I absolutely love it. It's so much fun. Getting to play with all these different girls from different colleges, I think, is the really cool part, because you just get to, at one point, you're either watching them play or, you are playing against them, and then getting to play on the same team as some of these girls, I think, is probably one of the coolest things. And then now to this part in my life where I'm coaching at the Division I level, it's awesome. South Dakota State is where I'm at, and the season up to this point was going really well. And our girls, we were really young. I mean, we had 10 freshmen, 9 sophomores, 4 juniors, and 1 senior. So it kind of sucks right now because everybody's kind of like no sports right now, and you guys are probably all bored at home, huh? So it's just a little different, but it's one of those things where you just kind of have to adjust and let things play out, and whatever happens, happens. So I'm super excited though, because I mean, whenever season does roll back around, it'll be really fun to get back into it. So for me this summer, right now, I'm just trying to stay in shape enough to be ready if we do end up playing this summer. So
I love it. That is awesome. And it's fun to hear it from your perspective too. So our conversation tonight is wherever you want to take it.
Okay.
I just recently dug up your article from the archives. So from your perspective, wherever you want to take this conversation,
Okay.
These girls some of them are just starting to dive in with mental skills. We can talk mental skills. A lot of them will have questions about recruiting. So I guess the number one question is, how did you get to where you are now?
Okay, so I started playing softball when I was probably in like 2nd grade. And that's honestly when I just started playing like competitively. I mean, I started in kindergarten, but like on a team and like, traveling and doing that kind of stuff, not until 2nd grade. I loved playing basketball too. So basketball, soccer, softball were like my 3 main sports. And as I got older, softball was kind of the route that I wanted to take. And so I really had to choose what I wanted to get serious about. So about 8th grade, I wanted to focus just on softball. I still played basketball, but I didn't do like the travel basketball, and same with soccer. I just stuck with softball. And once I committed really early. Now there's a rule where you guys can't do that anymore. But I committed my 8th grade summer is when I committed to Nebraska. So it was really early. And that's one of I don't regret it at all, but it is one of those things where you do need to make sure that you are old enough to be able to kind of make your decision and be smart and wise with your decision and take your time. So I think the new rule of you guys having to wait until September 1st of your junior year is really smart, because you really don't know until you know. So, and then I went to Nebraska, like I said, all 4 years. I decided that I wanted to continue playing because I thought it was a really cool opportunity to. got drafted, and after that, I realized I wanted to coach. Where I'm at this point in my life is I am still wanting to play. So for me, it's just more about staying in shape and making sure that I'm doing all the right things, like working on my own. It's really hard when I'm coaching right now to be able to do that. So I have to just be really disciplined with what I do. There was one thing that I wish going into college that I would have known a little bit more, is just how much work it was going to take. To get to the collegiate level. I know a lot of you guys are probably like wondering, how do you play in college and what do you do to play college ball? The biggest thing I would say is, one, I don't think that you should have to like limit your sports, but if softball is something that you're serious about, you do have to sacrifice a lot. I gave up a lot of free time with, like, you know, my friends. My friends would always be like, hey, Kiki, you want to spend the night? And I was like, oh, nope, can't softball. And I know you guys are probably at that point where, you know, you're getting invited to a lot of different things and your friends are doing a lot of different things and you want to do them, but you can't because of softball. And at the end of the day, it does pay off. I just think there's going to be a lot of sacrifices that you have to make if you want to play at the Division I level, even, or in college at all. It's about priorities too. I think figuring out what your priorities are is really important. And then once you find those, just working hard every day. I mean, I know that it sounds really tedious, but how many of you guys go to softball lessons? Just like raise your hand, like hitting, fielding. Yeah, so all of you guys. At that point, it's like, okay, so when you're doing things like that, like lessons, if you don't go home and work on those skills, then they're not really helpful. So if you're taking lessons and then you don't do anything with them outside of the lessons, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt you at the end of the day. So that's also something that I wish I would have known, is you can't just expect to do softball 1 to 2 days a week and then that's it, and expect to be good or expect to be recruited and wanting to play at the next level. If you can't dedicate at least, you know, 30 minutes a day, and it doesn't even have to be 30 minutes, it could be 10, but something to where you're always working on your skills. I think it's really important finding that piece and being able to just dive into that, I guess is the best way to put it. But it is hard. It's not something that's easy, and playing collegiately anywhere on the map, I think, is awesome. It doesn't have to be at a Division I level. It could be whatever level you want it to be, because at the end of the day, it's about school too. I think school was another thing that I really had to prioritize. Your schoolwork is really important. And some of you guys, I don't know how old a lot of you guys are, but when you get to high school, your 9th grade year is very different from everything else, from, you know, K through 8. And I found that out the hard way. I did not have very good grades my 9th grade year, and I had to pick them back up because I was like, if I want to get, you know, accepted into a lot of these universities, my grades have to be good, and then ACT scores have to be good. So there's a lot of things that go into play, but I think it's one of those things that, like I said, sacrifice is probably the biggest thing that I would say to get to this level.
That was awesome. Yeah. So as a guest speaker, the more that we can make it interactive, I'm sure that you guys have questions or thoughts about that. And I know that all of you guys are on different journeys and some of you are looking at playing at different levels. Does anyone have anything that relates to what Kiki just talked about that might be a good question? If not, that's okay too. I just was curious. Marley?
Oh, yeah.
I was just like talking about, like, you talked about how you really liked basketball and you really like softball, and like having to decide between that. Like, I am kind of in a position where I play travel for both.
Okay.
And like I really like both, but like, how did you like decide that, I guess?
So for me, I guess I played up until my senior year. So I did finish with basketball, but not on my AAU team. I had to stop that only because it was getting really expensive, and just trying to balance both was really stressful for me and for my family. I also have an older brother and a younger sister that were doing activities. And so I think it was kind of an easier decision for me because it was just like, all right, pick the one thing that you know you really want to do, and or what you're really good at, and I was a lot better at softball than I was at basketball. And so I was just like, if this is what my path's going to be, I'm going to just focus on this. And it was kind of hard at first, but then at the end of the day, like, I still got to play high school basketball. So there was still, it wasn't like I completely had to give it up, but it's one of those things where, and if you can afford it and you can balance it, then so be it. I don't think it's a bad thing. Honestly, I say the more sports, the better, just because it's like, you want to be a well-rounded athlete. You don't want to just say, I'm just a softball player, I'm just a soccer player. Like, you want to be able to say that you're a well-rounded athlete. And honestly, at the college level, my coaches loved the fact that a lot of us girls played multiple sports. So it's definitely like a good thing. I don't think college coaches like look down on the fact that you are playing one more than the others. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome question. That actually brings up another question for me as a coach as well. I think that burnout is becoming a real thing, and thinking about the mental side of the game, knowing that, Marley, you just finished up basketball season, you could really just turn softball on the back burner and just focus on basketball. I mean, what was that like for you once you knew you could kind of mentally not put your eggs in one basket? But I think that burnout is a real thing. What are you seeing as a coach, and what did you see as a player?
Yeah, and no, I completely agree. I think that was one of the things that when I realized that I put basketball down, how much easier it was for me, like at practices. Because I know a lot of the times it would be like, okay, you got practice on Monday, but you got basketball, at 8:00 that night. So how are you going to bounce back from it? And when you're younger, it's easier, but as you get older, so like once I got to high school, I was like, thank God, because I was still doing high school basketball, but I was like, thank God I wasn't still doing AAU basketball and softball at the same time, because I was so tired all the time. And it's like one of those things where when you do, cut out one thing, you do notice your performance excels in another area. And that's how I saw it with softball. Burnout is a real thing, and it can happen with softball too. It's not just, any other sport. Softball, I mean, if you were, never giving yourself time to recover, I always say now, so as soon as my season is over, we are done in, like when I'm playing professionally, our seasons are pretty short, but when my season is over, I typically like to give myself like a month, sometimes longer, to recover, especially now because my body, I am getting a little bit older. I'm only 25, but I definitely can tell when my body just doesn't recover like it did when I was in college. So giving yourself time to rest is crucial. I mean, you guys are probably all playing travel ball, and you guys know the summers get long, and by the end of the summer, you're like, God, man, I'm done. And that's the time where you really have to give yourself time to just recuperate, focus on maybe school a little bit more, or focus on your next sport, but give yourself time to let your body recover. It's huge. All the little pictures are switching. I'm like, what's happening?
So I guess the next question, you talked a little bit about this. You could cover each of the areas of your life, but if you could paint a day-by-day picture and give us an inside look of, maybe you start with your time at Nebraska and, take us from, 5 a.m., 6 a.m. to bedtime. What did your day-to-day look like, and what does that look like now too?
Yeah, one of the hardest things when I got to Nebraska was time management for me. I was not very good at it, and obviously it's one of those things where college is new, so you don't really know what you're getting into, but I became very aware of my time. So from the very beginning, our normal mornings would look like we would have our head coach, she led like a spin class. So we would do spin class with her, and then we would go to conditioning and lifting. We'd have, some days it'd be stadium stairs, some days it would be agility work, and then we'd lift. And then as soon as we would lift, at Nebraska, we had to have all of our classes in the morning, because 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock was blocked off for practice. So all of my classes were early in the morning, right from when lifting and conditioning got done, we would go. And then practice would start at 2. And then we go to about 6 o'clock. As soon as we were done with practice, we would all go and eat at the training table together, sometimes as a team, sometimes just individually. And then we'd have study hall. So at Nebraska, we had, as a freshman, you have 8 hours a week is mandatory for study hall. So we would have to do that in the enrichment center is what it was called. And sometimes, I mean, you could go in there, you could do 2 hours. As long as you had 8 hours by Friday, by 3 o'clock, it was fine. So most of the time we're in there longer though, because our days are so full. So I would, do my homework there, go home, maybe, hang out with some friends if I had time. Honestly, I never really had time. And if I did have time, I was too tired to do anything anyways. Shower, go to bed, and then up the same day. That was kind of the routine in the fall. Then you get into the spring. You practice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then you leave Thursday, and you're gone Thursday through Sunday for wherever it is you're on the road. So a lot, I mean, it's different for everybody, but you play that weekend, and then you come back home. Monday is typically your off day, so you get to practice Tuesday, Wednesday, and sometimes Thursday. It just kind of depends on where you're going, but most of the time you get 2 to 3 practices in a week, and then you get about 1 to 2 lift sessions in a week. When you get into the spring season of like when you're going to play, you don't there's not a ton of lifting and conditioning just because you're trying to maintain, but we did still have to do it at least once a week. And then yeah, I mean, that was pretty much nutshell how season goes there. Pro ball, it's a little different. It changes every year. Sometimes we start in June, sometimes we start in May, at the end of May. And it typically runs through the beginning of August. And we don't practice a lot. At the very beginning, we have like a spring training for about 2 weeks. And then after that, it's all playing. You pretty much are on the road, double headers almost every game. So it's really, really hard kind of to recover because you're playing. It's kind of like Major League Baseball, honestly, where you're playing every single day, and then you have a day off, and then you play again. So you're constantly playing. And then when your season's over, you kind of go back to wherever it is you're doing. Some people coach. Some people aren't done with school yet, so they go back to their schools. It's different kind of for everybody. And then here at South Dakota State, it's kind of the same as Nebraska. I would say our layout is the same, but now I'm coaching. So for me, I wake up at about 7:30, go to the office. I'm in charge of like our flights, our hotels, food. I am strictly like defense. I work with the slappers. So I have like all of our lefties that we have at South Dakota State are slappers. So I have all of the slappers and then the defense. I do catching and field outfield. So, and then my head coach is the pitching coach, and then the other assistant is the hitting coach. So, but we all kind of work together, us three, with everybody. It's not like, we have to just do this. We're pretty, I guess we balance a lot. So it's fun, and the girls are great. I think it's weird because all the girls are from everywhere, just about everywhere. Being in South Dakota, it is really cold all the time. I still haven't gotten used to that. It's like negative 25 degrees almost every day, I feel like, but it's definitely a jump, but you get used to it, and you make it work. It's kind of hard for us to play a lot of home games because it snows a lot up here, and we don't have turf just yet. So that's one of the things that like we're working on right now to get done at our field because it's hard. Have any of you guys played on turf? A couple of you guys? Yeah. It's different, but I mean, it is something that I think a lot of people are starting to turn to. At Scrapyard, we play on turf, and a lot of schools are starting to add turf to like their outfield and stuff like that. So it's definitely a switch, but that's kind of a day in the life of. What kind of questions do you guys have for any of those parts?
And if you guys just want to unmute yourself and go for it, if you have a question, yeah, we'll try it out. Go for it.
What did you go to school for that you could balance like having softball in college so well?
That's a good question. Yeah. So when I first got to Nebraska, I wanted to be a teacher, and I did my practicum with second graders, and it ruined it. I was like, I cannot do second graders. They were all over the place. But so then I changed my major to family science because I wanted to do occupational therapy. I wanted to be an occupational therapist assistant, and it went well. For me, I didn't really have to change my classes around a ton. I was already kind of on the route. I just had to do a little bit more science classes. The one major at Nebraska that was really hard for a lot of student athletes to do was like engineering, or like the medical field, like nursing. That was kind of hard because you can't really miss a ton of practice, and a lot of the times that the classes were offered for those specific majors were like around practice times or around game times. And then like if you're missing, say we go on a trip and we're gone Thursday through Sunday, well, you're missing class on Thursday and Friday, and it's just really hard to get caught back up when you're trying to do something like engineering or trying to be a doctor. Like that's really hard. So OT for me was really easy because a lot of my stuff was online, and I just was doing like my prereqs because we didn't have that as a graduate program at Nebraska. So I actually still don't have my license to do that. But my fifth year is when I was like, okay, I'm either going to coach or I'm going to go to OT school. And I decided I wanted to coach because it's a lot of fun. Getting to work with our youth and getting to grow the game is so much fun. It's softball. I mean, honestly, it was not like this. I don't remember it being like this when I was, growing up. It was, people played softball, but now it's like you see it all over everything. And that's, I think what's so cool is that you guys get to be a part of that, and you guys get to be, the ones that are going to be on TV next. Like, cool. I'm gonna remember all you guys' little names on here because I'm gonna see some of you guys on TV one day.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Who was your biggest supporter when you played your travel ball when you were younger?
My travel ball coach was like him and I, and he's still one of like he's honestly like my mentor. I give a lot to him because he definitely like helped my family a lot at a time of just, we, like I said, I have 2 other siblings, and softball's super expensive. He helped me a lot with just like being able to like help me afford to keep playing. Like he was really good with like getting coaches to come and watch me play, getting me noticed by a lot of different people. And I don't know, I would say he was my family obviously they were probably my biggest supporters, but he's definitely somebody that I'm very close to and very grateful for, because honestly, I probably wouldn't be where I am without him in the mix. So him and my family, I would say, are my 2 biggest supporters.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
If you could go back and work on 1 or 2 things, what would you work on?
1 or 2 things. Like softball related, or like
In high school softball.
Okay, high school softball. There's 1 to 2 things. Base running is huge. Never worked on that. Like I really got away with base running because I was fast. But had I been, just a mediocre kid that, was somewhat fast, I guess, I probably would have gotten out 90% of the time. Base running is something that has to be perfected, and it has to be worked on. And yes, it's tiring, but as an outfielder, I remember, I always hated having to run for the infield during practice, but it's something that when I got to college, I was so grateful for because it made me a better base runner. And that's the name of the game now. I mean, you score runs. If you're smart, you don't have to be fast. You just got to be smart. And you have to know how to run the bases. And if you can do that, I think it changes the game a lot. That's one thing. And then the second thing would be probably just to like perfect the things that I'm uncomfortable with, because I think I was always like, oh, I was really good at diving, but that was all I ever wanted to work on. But I wasn't really good at like do or dies. And I always ran away from working on it because I was uncomfortable with it. So I would say working on things that make me uncomfortable a little bit more. And if you don't know what those are, I mean, whether it be asking your coach or even in games, if you're like, dang, I just don't know why I can't get this, or this is something that I'm really struggling with, like write them down. And once you like have them on paper and you see, you know, this is what I want to work on, it makes it a little bit easier to come into practice. And whether it be like 5-10 minutes, you stay before or after practice and work on that and get comfortable with it, because then it becomes a strength. And then sooner or later, you don't really have, you're just trying to, you know, maintain everything instead of working on just the things that you're uncomfortable with. That was a good question.
Thank you.
You guys are doing awesome with questions. I really want to make sure that I get to the next one. What is your experience with mental skills? And if you could choose a favorite skill that you relied on, what would that look like?
So mental skills is something that I think is great. Like if you guys are starting to learn that stuff like now, that is great, because before I got to college, I couldn't have told you what mental skills were. Couldn't have told you that I used them. I didn't know anything about it until I got to Nebraska. And I was really lucky. I had coaches that were really, really, really big into the mental side of the game. As you guys know, softball and baseball both are really, we fail a lot. And so you have to be able to bounce back and be mentally tough. Something that we worked on at Nebraska was mental toughness all the time. So we would do a lot of different things, from drills that would, you know, make us have to either think or fail to be able to get through something. Something that I think that I really learned at my time there was positive self-talk. I was always someone that was like, okay, I can't strike out, or I can't roll over this ball. I didn't really know how to talk to myself when it came to being in college and hitting off of really good pitchers. And I definitely found out a way to talk to myself. For me, I was very like result driven. And I know some people are result driven, some people are process driven, but for me, I was very result driven. So for me, something that I liked to do was talk to myself positively. So instead of I have to get this hit or I have to do this, it'd be like, put the ball in play here, or I'm going to put this bunt down here. And I would simplify it for myself so that I wasn't overthinking I can't do something, or this is what I have to do. And that's something that took a lot of training. And mental toughness comes in practice as well. Being able to bounce back from whether it be an error or whether it be a drill that you guys are doing and you mess up and say you only get one chance. I mean, we did a lot of things that we would have to work through and just try to be mentally tough. Mental toughness is also something that a lot of people get confused with, because it can be kind of like, okay, well, am I mentally tough, or do I have anxiety? Those are two things that I think a lot of people are like, get mixed up. Mental toughness to me is being able to tell yourself to push through, or to continue doing what you're doing. And if you're doing the work, it'll find its way. And that was the other thing. I think mental toughness only comes to the people that put in the work. You can't expect to be mentally tough if you're not doing what you need to be doing on the other side. And that's, I think, really hard, because some people are like, well, you know, I'm not very confident. Oh, hi. I'm not very confident in the box, but at the same time, are you taking swings at practice, or are you just taking swings at lessons? Being able to separate yourself and tell, like, I was most confident when I did the work. And my freshman and sophomore year, I really just didn't understand that. And I wasted 2 years because I didn't work hard enough. And by my junior year, I was like, you know, I'm tired of being underlooked. I mean, all these people are doing things above me. Sierra Romero was somebody that I really, I didn't compare myself to, but I was always competing with her. We were the same age. We were both in the Big Ten, and she was always someone that I was like, okay, I'm not going to let her beat me this week with on-base percentage, or I'm not going to let her beat me this week with stolen bases, just little things like that. I became really, really competitive and, like I said, result-driven, which not for everybody, but it is something that helped me. And just being able to be positive and shake it off. And errors for me were, I was an outfielder, so if I had an error, it most of the time would hurt the team. One of the biggest things I learned as with being an outfielder is they're going to happen, but if you dwell on it, like nothing's going to come out of it. So you got to keep going. You got to keep going. You got to shake it off and keep going. And my teammates, I think, respected me because I was very like, all right, well, next play. Like, yeah, I messed up, but next play. Like, you're going to get another chance to do it. And that's what our game is all about. Who can bounce back the fastest and who can stay in it the longest and be tough enough to stay on it and just trust the process. I think the moment that you tell yourself you can't, or the moment that you start doubting yourself, you lose. So it is something that has to be practiced. And if you don't know how, I mean, I can even give you things too that like we did in practice and things that we do on a daily basis, things that I do with my girls here at South Dakota State that help them, push through the mental side of the game, because it becomes a lot, especially when you get older. It becomes, you have to have mental toughness at the college level. So it's good that you guys are working on that now, if you guys have started it, because it will help a lot when you get to the next level.
Very cool. I'm sure that there's lots of questions based on that alone. We are at 7:35, and I promised that we would be off in 45 minutes. So the next 10 minutes, you guys just ask away, ask your questions. And then Kiki, the last thing that I would ask you to share is if you could go back and tell yourself, where you were at this age, what's one piece of advice that you would share? And maybe we can end with that, but yeah, more questions, you guys.
Yeah, you guys go for it. She's like,
Claire, you might have to type yours in the chat. You might have to type your question in the chat, Claire, because you keep cutting in and out. I'm sorry. Can you type it in the chat? There's a little bubble at the bottom that says chat.
Yep.
Okay, cool. I will wait for that to pop on. Anyone else have a question while we're waiting on Claire? Go ahead, Marissa.
How often did you see your family when you were in college?
In season, so in the spring, not very much. Unless they came to my games, I never saw them until the summer. So every now and then, like I said, if we were close enough, they would come to games. But other than that, I didn't get to really see them all too often. In the fall, when we didn't have like practice on Saturdays or Sundays, I would go home sometimes. I mean, I was 3 hours away, so I was pretty close, so closer than most of my teammates. So it becomes one of those things. Your freshman year, you do get a little home. I did get homesick, and I was only 3 hours away. But by my sophomore year, I was like, I ain't going home. I'm never going home. And if they want to see me, they can come and see me. But I mean, it is hard, and family is really important to me. So being able to see them is, it was always really fun when they got to come to games, and when my sister and my brother would get to come, because it's hard in college. I mean, you're playing all over the country, so it's not easy by any means, but you make it work. And then you get the summers sometimes. I was always in school still, so at Nebraska, most of us would stay for summer school because to stay and work out over the summer, so we weren't just going home and doing nothing. We would stay at school. So, but you still get about 2 weeks off. So most of the time, everybody goes home in those 2 weeks, and then they come back to go to school. So.
How did you choose Nebraska? Like, was it something about like the softball program, or was it for like the schooling?
So I had actually had a couple of different offers. I had went to Florida first. That's where I first went, and I loved everything about Florida. The program was awesome. Coach Walton, he was great, but I just didn't really feel very comfortable there. I mean, they're great. I mean, they won 2 national. Like when I got to Nebraska, we actually ended up playing them my freshman year in the World Series, and we lost to them. And then so those 2 years they had won it, but I just wasn't comfortable there. My other offer was to Arizona State and Georgia. Arizona State was just too far home for me. Like my mom was actually going through breast cancer, so she was going through like chemo and radiation. So being able to be somewhere where my family could watch me, but as well close enough to where if anything happened, I could go and see my mom was really important to me. And that was the same with Georgia. I mean, it was just too far from home. Nebraska, when I had gotten onto campus, I immediately fell in love. Nebraska was one of the first camps that I had went to, and the coaches were, I mean, if any of you guys have met them, they're awesome. They love their players, they love their program, they take a lot of pride in everything that they do. I would play for them over and over again if I could. They were awesome. I fell in love with the coaching staff. That's honestly why I chose Nebraska. School, it wasn't like I was decided on what I wanted to do when I got there. So that wasn't something that like was what I was choosing based off of, but I definitely chose Nebraska because of them. So good question.
Did you get it?
She's trying to ask this question, man.
I know. I will chat her. Reagan, did you have a question?
Yeah. Where did you grow up at, and what travel team did you play when you were younger?
I guess I didn't even say that. I grew up in Kansas City. So Olathe, Kansas, like Overland Park is probably what most people know. And I played for the D-Marini Aces is what they are now. They're purple and black. Yeah. Oh, I see something highlighting. Do I click on it? Claire typed it. Oh, you did.
Where do you send it?
Oh, where do you send it? Where do you send it?
Not letting me send it. Why won't this thing send? I'm just gonna get on this computer.
You're muted, Amanda, I think. This is funny.
I'm worried that sometimes if it unmutes, what happens is it changes the video, and so someone else, their sound may kick off the video when I do the recording.
Oh.
So that's why I like to mute. Reagan, did you have a question?
Yeah, I just asked it.
You did? Okay. Sorry, I'm busy trying to multitask. I'm obviously not a good multitasker. Does anyone else have a question for Kiki?
I have another one.
Uh-huh.
For like girls on your team in Nebraska, if they like were trying to be a nurse or a doctor, something difficult, where the coach is like willing to, I don't know how to explain it, like
Yeah, like work around it. Yes.
Yeah.
So one of the girls on the team, she's actually a dental hygienist now. That was something that was really hard. She also somehow, some way, she balanced being in a sorority, and she did really well. But she was really, really good in school. So for our coaches, pretty much they say, you know, if you are a good student and you can keep above a 3.0, we'll work around you. But you know, if your grades, you know, if you're not above a 3.0, we can't have you missing practice for classes, pretty much. So yes, they were very, like, if you absolutely, this is what you wanted to do, they were absolutely willing to work around it. But you also had to keep your grades up and pretty much prove why you should be able to do what you want to do, I guess.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did you play any other sports growing up?
One more time.
Did you play any other sports growing up?
Yep. So, okay, you guys are gonna think it's funny, but okay, I played tackle football from 2nd grade to 6th grade with the boys. I was the biggest tomboy. My brother, I pretty much wanted to do everything he did. My brother played basketball, baseball, and football, so I wanted to do the same. So 2nd grade through 6th grade, I played football in the fall, and then I'd play softball in the spring. Soccer, balanced that, and then winter I played basketball. So I was really, really, really busy. And then when I got to high school, I just did softball and basketball, and then I played volleyball my sophomore and freshman year. And then I was like, yeah, volleyball wasn't for me. I'm not the tallest person either, so it didn't work out for me. So I just stuck with softball and basketball after that, and then I didn't do soccer in college or in high school. So, do a lot of you guys play multiple sports? Yeah. Keep them up. Keep them up. I would say that it's one of those things that is like, as a college coach, I would absolutely recruit a kid that was a multi-sport athlete versus a kid who was just one-dimensional. So, and if you are one-dimensional, you probably are really good at perfecting that. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but it's definitely something that a lot of coaches look for. If if you're recruiting athletes, it's a lot easier, I think, when you get to college, because it's just, you know how to balance already because you've done, multiple sports, and you're probably really athletic. It means that you can do a lot of different things. You're versatile. So that shows that, you might not be, I would put it this way. So we have a lot of kids who come in as infielders and then they might end up being an outfielder. But for us, it's like, oh, well, they can do something else. So I think it's really, and that's important too. Yeah, when you're younger, play a lot of different positions. Don't just play one spot, because when you get to college, you might not play that one spot. Oh, I see. So she said, was outfield always the spot you wanted to play? If not, what was it? She's like, oh my God, my question came through. Outfield was not. I hated outfield, to be honest. So from when I started 7th grade, I had always been, up until 7th grade, I had always been a shortstop, second baseman. And then when this girl, she tried out for our team, and our coach was like, hey, Kiki, you're really fast, and this girl can't really play in the outfield, so would you want to do it? And I was like, no. And he was like, well, you don't have a choice, so you got to go. Well, I absolutely hated it, because when you're younger, nothing gets hit out there, so it's kind of boring. But then I started realizing as I was getting older, more and more balls were starting to come to the outfield. And then I kind of made it like a game in my head of just like nothing drops. And that's where I started diving and making really cool plays. And then it kind of became my spot. And then in high school, I played shortstop and outfield. And then when I got to college, played shortstop for like 1 day, 2 days of practice. And coach was like, nah, you're going to just be an outfielder here. It's probably not the best idea. So that didn't last for very long, but I'm so glad I am an outfielder. I think it's one of the positions that's underlooked. People don't really pay attention to a lot of outfielders, and I think it's one of the most important positions because they're the last line of defense, and you get to make really cool plays and be on Sports Center. So I think it's cool.
Very cool.
Nice.
Okay.
You're shortstop too. She said, I'm not. Thank you. I'm a shortstop too.
Kiki, thank you for your time. If you could leave us with one last golden nugget, what would that be?
I would say to just enjoy your time playing softball. You don't get to play this sport forever, and sometimes you are fortunate to play at the next level and continue to get to play, but it's one of those things that I think that this game is going to bring a lot of different people into your life, and these are going to be the friends that you have now are going to be the friends that you probably have for a lifetime. Your teammates are your family. Take care of them, take care of each other, and just have fun. I think that this game is all about having fun, and the people that succeed at this game are the ones who are always having fun. So that'd be probably my last piece. And then to just work hard. Don't let anybody outwork you. I think that's probably one of the biggest things now. I can honestly say that you can be anything you want to be, and you can be a star. You can be the standout if you work hard for it, but can't complain if you don't work. And I just think it's one of those things that if you are always saying, did I give my best today? Ask yourself that at the end of the day. Did I give 100% today? Did I go all out today? And if you can always say yes, you'll always be happy with yourself, and you'll always be happy with the game. And the game rewards those that go above and beyond of what it's asked. And so just love every minute of it and enjoy it and have fun and work hard. Anybody else? You guys good?
Crushed it. Okay, so if they have any questions, I know it's a little bit trickier because you are a Division I coach, and so we have to be cautious of rules and how we do that. But if they comment and ask a question on the Instagram post, can you reply to their comment on social media?
Yeah. Okay. And if you guys too, I'm allowed to, so because I'm still playing, I am allowed to still like answer questions, and so I won't get like flagged or in trouble if I like answer if like you guys were to DM me on Instagram or something like that. I wouldn't get in trouble for answering it because I am still playing. But once I stop playing, then I do have to go a different route. But you guys are completely fine with asking questions.
Sounds good. And so your Instagram is tagged, and they can also reach out to me, and I have your contact info as well. So my last comment is just, you guys have access to so much at your fingertips with social media.
Yeah, you guys are lucky. Oh my God, man. Lucky. This is so cool. The fact that this is even a thing, like guys, when I tell you, like, I did not have any of this growing up. So this is actually really, really cool. And Amanda, it's so cool that you're getting so many people involved, because this is truly what it means to grow the game. I mean, you guys are getting to listen to all these awesome speakers, and I don't know how often you guys do this, but like, you guys are lucky. You guys are really, really lucky to have, someone that's being able to set things up like this for you guys, because it does make a difference. And I think it does, show a lot to, how much she works for you guys. I mean, this is so cool. I think that this is one of the coolest things I've ever done, to be honest. So lucky.
Well, you're welcome back.
You're welcome back.
Come back anytime.
Anytime.
And I want to see a cooking show before the end of next week. So.
Oh, yeah. You guys got to follow me so you can watch my cooking shows.
Hilarious. Okay.
And TikTok now. I'm on TikTok now too, so that's my new thing. TikTok is fun. I know all you guys probably got TikTok.
Okay, give Kiki an amazing send-off, a wave, a hang loose, a whoop whoop, whatever, and I will see you guys on the flip side.
Bye guys. Kiki. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Bye.
Thank you.